Everybody's here looking to make money, increase their income, I assume. So income doesn't usually exceed personal development. Success is something you attract, not something you pursue. The major question to ask on the job is not what am I getting here, but what am I becoming here? So learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job, and everything else will follow that.
What was one of your biggest fears during the program?
I didn't think I would get anything out of it. I didn't think I'd even be there. I wasn't necessarily looking for a job. I'm an entrepreneur. I have businesses that I run. I was just kind of court-ordered to be there. Right when I first got there, I was texting my attorney, like, why do you have me here? You know, like, I don't know what I'm doing here. But it's funny how, like, I've been wanting to do this motivational speaking. Y'all can probably tell this is my first time. So I've been wanting to do this for a while, and it's funny how that opportunity presented itself when I actually opened up my mind to see what could I learn versus like thinking I knew.
So what did you learn from the program that you didn't know before, or what helped you better yourself?
Well, what helps me the most is practicing a bit of humility and humbling myself enough to actually be optimistic instead of pessimistic and thinking I didn't need to be there. Because if I wouldn't have went, I wouldn't be here today. And this is something I'd like to do moving forward, you know, a greater capacity than just this. Hopefully this can lead to a lot more opportunities like this for me. So that's something that I took from it. I think it's good to ask yourself, what can I learn from this, no matter who you're involved with, no matter if you think you already know. There's always something to be learned. You have to kind of train your mind to look for the good in things, because there's good in everything. There's no such thing as no good. It's a universal law of polarity, which basically says that for there to be darkness, there must be light. For there to be good, there must be bad. You know, that it has to be this way. So there's no such thing as no good, just like there's no such thing as no bad. It must be there. So you gotta train your mind to look for the good. You gotta understand that you can think positively or negatively about anything, but you can only think one way at one time. So like a guy's looking for work, he can decide to think that I can find a job, or he can decide to think that I can't find a job. Either way, that's what he'll manifest. Yeah.
How did you get comfortable being uncomfortable?
It's a good question. So when in the class, what was the gentleman's name with his wife in the class?
That was Mr. Robinson.
Right.
He was incarcerated. Mr. Robinson was one of my year participants that was incarcerated for quite a while. And he was there with his wife. And he was totally what?
He was very timid.
Very timid. Very timid. You know, and we try to take him out that timidness that he was in. So yes, he did.
He asked the question is how does he get past rejection?
Rejection.
The fear of rejection. Mm-hmm. I kind of was commenting on everybody's questions when we did an exercise with the yarn and that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I told him to seek out the rejection instead of avoiding it. What is fear really? It's the lack of awareness of the other side. Like I can remember when I was a kid, we used to go swimming and we would jump off of this like boathouse roof into the water. I remember being scared. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to jump. It was too high. But eventually I jumped, and then you couldn't stop me from jumping. I couldn't do it also. So it's the same thing. You can apply that to anything, I think. Any fear you may have. Look at things in terms of right or wrong. Just look at it in terms of understanding. You know, don't condemn yourself thinking that you can't do something. Because thinking that you can't do something will never do you or anyone else any good. You have to think of how you can and not why you can. And like when you do that, because you have the ability in your conscious mind to kind of reject thoughts of like telling you can't, or you're not enough, or you're not smart enough, or you're not fit enough, or you're not attractive enough, or whatever. They won't like me, or I can't do that. You can kick that out of your mind, and you gotta keep thinking until your mind will come with ways of how you can do it. And the way will be shown to you. It comes in the form of images in your mind. Accountability is very important. You have to be willing to take responsibility for everything that happens to you in your life. Because at the end of the day, the major key to your better future is what? Is you. major key to your better future is you. So,
And one thing, let me interject, Mark.
Yes,
We cannot be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid if you fall or if you fail. That's the opportunity to what?
learn.
Learn from it and
Bro.
hello, do better. You know, we fall. We gonna all fall. But what the song said, we can get back up again. We can get back up again. We can get back up again. Each time you fall, you know, failure what? It's better than what they say, than a try. At least you tried.
Right.
Okay, you're trying. Nothing is gonna go in life perfect, but you gotta condition yourself to walk. We have to condition our mind. It's about us. And what we talked about most in the class, we gotta get ourselves together. We always wanna fix this, we wanna fix that person, but if you don't fix yourself, how you gonna fix somebody?
You can't change anything. That's something I struggled with a lot in my life. I tried to change everything around me. And the thing is you can't change anyone. No matter how much you want, you can, how much you love or care or want, you can't change anyone. You can only change you. The thing is, if you don't like the results you're getting in your life in any case, you have to change you because they're your results. So in order to change you, you have to be willing to learn something about yourself, which can be scary for people because they can, change brings vulnerability and a lot of people lack, because most of us were never taught. We lack things like confidence and self-belief, and it really comes down to your self-image. So we have two images. We all do. Everybody in here has two images of ourselves. We have the image that we have of ourselves, and we have the image that we show the world. So the main reason that most people never really do anything of any great consequence is because they simply don't believe they can. But if they did believe they could, then they would try. If you don't try, you won't know.
You have a question?
Are you glad that you came to these classes?
I'm very glad because I'm here right now. Yeah, that's indeed.
It was destined for him to be here.
That's true.
It's destined for us to do the things that we do. Everyone is here for a purpose. We just have to know what our purpose in life is. So this is not by coincidence that we're here, okay? That you're here. You're here because this is a part of your life. This is where you're destined to be at. And this is going to critique how your next step is in life as far as getting your career, okay? All right?
All right, talking about careers and economics. One of the first rules in economics is we primarily get paid for value. I know it takes time to make money, but we get paid for the value we bring to the marketplace, not the time. So it's possible you can make 2, 3, 4, 10 times as much money in the same time, depending on what value you bring. Which is why it's important to constantly practice self-development and work on yourself. Because it's quite frustrating to go out and look for an above-average job with above-average pay without becoming an above-average person. That's the only thing that's going to create that value. It's not just going to be given to you. Value makes the difference in results.
All right. So any more questions for Mr. Rucker before he goes? I appreciate him coming in. Lord knows he was destined to be here. He just didn't know it, okay? And what I'm gonna do is, like each time, I want you to come into my gear class and give them that little motivation. Let them know where you come from and where you're at now. Because like you said, you didn't want to be here. Why am I here? Okay? But it was his purpose to be here. He just didn't know he was destined to be here. Okay? All right. Any questions from Mr. Rucker before he leaves? No more questions?
Thank you for coming.
Thank you,
Mark.